Good morning, everyone. I have this distinct honor this morning to introduce our mayor, Mayor James Kenney. I have a very, very brief, two quick points that I want to make this morning. Again, Stephanie Gambona with the Philadelphia Youth Network. One, I am so honored and delighted that you all chose Philadelphia for this summit. Our city is full of history, birthplace of democracy, and to have you select us to really talk about some critical issues facing opportunities, I just want to thank you for that. We're honored to have you all here today. Not only you in the room, but the several hundred young people that were streaming live who were over at the school district building as well. So thank you for that. And the second point that I just want to make, and I think you all know this because you're here today on this dreary, rainy Friday, your voice matters. Not only does it matter, it's extremely important. Your voice at the table in terms of what is needed in this country for opportunity youth. We need you. We need you to vote. We need you to have a voice in every conversation impacting young people. So there are several hundred of you from across the state of Pennsylvania and even from around the country here in Philadelphia today. But we need you to carry that message, carry the messages that you're learning today back to your communities and work with other young people in your community to remind them that it really is important that their voice is in the conversation and that their vote matters. So thank you again for coming to Philadelphia and have a great day today. Do not let the rain get in the way of all the exciting things ahead of us this morning and this afternoon. So without further ado, I would like to invite Mayor James Kenney, an advocate for young people, education, in the city of Philadelphia overall, to join us for a few remarks this morning. Thank you.
Good morning. They gave me a script, but I'm going to go off it because I think it's really important what's going on in this country right now. And it's probably, I'm 58 years old, and I'm an old white dude, but what's going on in this country is the worst thing that's ever gone on in this country. It's the worst time in our country's history from a national perspective. Does anybody know who John Lewis is? Raise your hand. Not enough people know who John Lewis is. He's a United States Congressman. He's the 6th district in Georgia. Why is he well known? Why should you know who he is? Civil rights. Anybody know what the Edmund Pettus Bridge is? How many people? Raise your hand. Not enough. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to Google John Lewis, and I want you to Google the Edmund Pettus Bridge. The Edmund Pettus Bridge is a bridge where civil rights marchers, civil rights advocates walked over down south one day in an effort to get from one city to another. And they were met by state police officers and Klansmen who beat them and drugged them and battered them almost to death, including John Lewis. Dogs, water cannons, jail. There are people in this country, in 1965, when I was alive, now maybe most of you weren't born by 1965 or 63 or 62. I was born in 58. So in my lifetime, you couldn't vote. You couldn't vote because they would stop you at the polls for some extraneous reason, right? And John Lewis and Martin Luther King and all the folks who fought for those rights are now dead except for him. Fannie Mae Hamer, Martin Luther King, all those folks are gone except for him. He's the last of the Big Six. Big Six who spoke on the Mall on Dr. King's speech. And people in this country don't vote, right? They don't vote. Now, I'm not asking anybody to walk across the Edmund Pettus Bridge because that's a big lift. Get off your ass, get out of your couch, get off of your kitchen, and go to the rec center 2 blocks from your house, the library 3 blocks from your house, the school a block from your house, and vote. And people say, my vote don't matter. And as soon as you say my vote don't matter, it doesn't. Because you ain't casting it. Now, you can cast it for anybody you want. And if you want to cast it for the crazy orange guy, go right ahead. I don't doubt that's the case. And they're beating up Hillary over stuff she didn't do. They're going to start that now, right? They're going to start that whole Bill Clinton stuff now, right? Because they got nothing left. Newt Gingrich and Rudy Giuliani and Trump. Really? Really? This is the last gasp of white supremacists. This is the last gasp of the Klan. This is the last gasp of people who want to put you back where they want you. where they want you. When you have a presidential candidate, and this isn't a rally, but you have a presidential candidate who cannot disavow the Ku Klux Klan, who cannot disavow David Duke. Oh, I don't know who he is. Oh, I pick everybody's support. Oh, I don't know anything about them. You don't know who David Duke is? You don't know who the Klan is? And those folks are trying to reinsert themselves in American politics. They're outliers. They should be outliers. And if we let them in, shame on us. Shame on us. If we allow them to divide black and white, American-born and immigrant, let me tell you my immigrant story, all right? I'm third, fourth generation Irish-American, right? In 1892, Ellis Island started. That's when people started coming through Ellis Island. The bulk of the Irish came through this country in the 1840s because they were being starved to death by the British in their own country. British history, they starve a lot of people out, right? But they starved us out. 1 million Irish people died of starvation, and 1 million Irish people emigrated to America. 1840 to 1849, 1850. Ellis Island wasn't there. So every one of my relatives were undocumented immigrants. Every single one, right? And when they got here to Philadelphia and Boston and New York, they said, the Trumps of the day said that the bloody hand of the Pope was going to wreck America. The Catholics had to go. Now they're saying the Muslims have to. Now they're saying the Muslims can't come in. Islam is a peaceful religion. Christianity is a peaceful religion. Judaism is a peaceful religion. Buddhism is a peaceful religion. But they want to twist it to keep a group of people out and blame a group of people for their own failures. Because that's what bad people in America have done. But in 1844, in this city, in Philadelphia, the know-nothings, the Trumpers of the day, who wanted the Catholics out, burned down St. Michael's Church in Kensington, St. Augustine's Church in Old City, and went down to burn down St. Philip Neri Church in Queen Village. Well, the Pennsylvania Guard stopped them by the time they got there, all right? This is the same thing that's happening today. This is a diverse, multicultural country, and it should be. It should be. The only two groups of people who have a real beef are Native Americans and African Americans, okay? Because the sin of slavery will probably never be overcome. It may be never overcome. But it's a sin nonetheless. We have to acknowledge what it was and what it is. But we are at a place now in this country where we are diverse, we are together, and we are not going to let the Archie Bunkers of the world, and I'm going to make that comment because you don't know who Archie Bunker is probably, but I do. I grew up with Archie Bunker, right? We're not going to let them back into controlling our society, right? I'm 58. I got another maybe 15, 20 years to be in charge of anything, right? You guys are in charge. You're the next group in charge. The next group in charge. And if you got to step up, man, and you got to vote, and you got to shame the people who won't vote into voting. You got to shame them. And you got to tell them that John Lewis is alive. Don't let him down. Don't let his suffering and his sacrifice go to waste. Because he's the most kind and gentle and humblest person I've ever met. But he did the hard things. He did the hard lift. So I am urging you, be involved as you are, because in this rain, in this crappy day, you're here. And I appreciate that. We appreciate that. But you got to go grab those folks that you know who don't want to be involved, who don't care, I don't matter. We don't matter. You better matter, because if you don't matter, the bad orange man's coming. He's coming, and he's closer than he should be. He's closer than he should be. A qualified woman who's been involved in government and politics, taking care of families for her whole life, is on the line, and they're beating her up because they don't want us to be together. They want us to be separate. They want us to be each other's throats. And we're not going to be there. We're not going to be there. This country has come too far and too long and too far for us to go back to where we were. The good old days ain't the good old days, man. I'm telling you what, they were the bad old days for a lot of people, all right? Because there were men and women in uniform in our country's history. From the Revolution to the War in 1812 to every war we've had, who went to war to serve their country and came back to Jim Crow, came back to segregation, came back to the back of the bus, came back to the lunch counter they couldn't sit at after they served their country in World War II and in World War I. We fought those fights. We're fighting the fight about women's choice still. We're fighting the fight about segregation still, voter rights still. This is the last gasp they have. And if we don't stop them, we don't put our foot on their neck and stop them, they will move. And they will come back to where they used to be. So my plea to you, as an old white dude from South Philly, don't let them back in. Don't let them in. Don't let this guy win. You got to go get him. Because the one thing they can't take away from you is your right to vote. Because John Lewis gave it to you along with everybody else who fought. So please, learn today, talk to each other, be together, but go out of here resolute and that you're not going to let this country go back to where it was in the 1930s, 40s, 50s, 60s. We've come there, we've gone there, we've come out of that. We're better than that, and we are a diverse, wonderful country, and we need to stay that way. We have our problems, don't get me wrong. Racism is a major factor in our country right now. Police-community relations, a major problem in our country right now. Education and lack of funding for education is a major problem right now. We can fight those fights together. We can't fight them with the other side coming in and being in charge. So please, 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 think about it, do it, get your folks, get your friends, get your family. You know that old aunt or uncle who don't want to vote, get them off the couch and drag them down the street and tell them John Lewis told them to get there. All right? Promise? All right, man. Thank you.